means that all of the small keys throughout Hyrule that are normally in their own dungeons are shuffled into the pot, and also they're not dungeon specific anymore. So they're going to go and find them, gather up keys, buy them if necessary, and use them to get through the dungeons and finally defeat Ganon.
So it looks like we are already started up here, just a heart in the uncle's house, and we have the standard opening, so we get to go through the whole escape sequence, and we'll come out with the sword. But yeah, this retro mode, I'm really looking forward to this. I feel that retro has definitely been the sort of red-headed stepchild of seed selections this tournament, and it's I understand why runners may or may not like it, but I am very excited to see this race.
Yeah, retro's not really a new mode. It's been around for quite a while, like unlike inverted, but people just haven't. The only people who've been playing it are the people who also do some crazy interest shuffles and stuff. So retro as a mode on its own hasn't been tested so much by the community. So I don't think anyone's really an expert in it, which makes it extremely interesting to see what people choose to. So the start of the seed's not going to be too different from any seed. They're basically going to be making their way through Hyrule Castle. They're going to kill some enemies, to go out of the way to do it, to try and find bombs, to check the 3 items in the back of escape. But after that, it's going to start getting interesting, and then we're going to start discussing what makes retro so different from normal.
So I guess with the one key sort of retro feature being, well, aside from the keys, I guess, being the way the ammunition works in this mode, do you think that we might see one or both of our runners do a houlihan out just right?
And personally, I would be surprised if either of them don't do a houlihan. I think it's a bit of a no-brainer strategy in this mode. In all of the retro races I've seen and the seeds I've done, money has been tight and you have to go out of your way to farm some money. So I think doing the houlihan is a really good idea. So I almost expect them to do it immediately as soon as they leave the. So just to explain to anyone who's new to retro, the reason we're talking about money being so important is because the bow no longer uses arrows to fire. You actually spend money, and that's 10 rupees per normal arrow shot or 50 rupees per silver arrow. So if you can imagine how many silver arrows you want to use against bosses like Armos Knights or Vitreous or Ganon, then that adds up to quite a lot of money at the end of the seed. Also, while the keys are all shuffled into the item pool, 10 keys have been removed. And the way you can make up for that is you find one of several shops in Hyrule that will actually sell keys. And they cost 100 rupees a pop, so money can be tight. We saw Hahasell have a little bit of trouble with the ball and chain guard, but as long as you don't die, it's no disaster. A death there would be very costly. So thankfully there's hearts under the pots, and 2 pots finishes off the ball and chain. But we see Liam have a little bit of a lead now, but not too much, about 10 seconds.
Yeah, they're both still on good pace. We should be seeing probably still get a sub 6 from both of our runners. Haha might be a little tight for that. Now, another interesting thing about the retro is where we can find all those extra keys. Now, do you want me to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, go ahead, mate.
So, as we know, in the Link to the Past map, there are quite a few sort of buildings and caves that, from a racing perspective, we normally ignore those, because in the base game, they just have maybe some stuff in there for sale that we don't really need. But what retro does is it turns, I believe it's 5 of those cave/building locations that we don't need into shops. Those are shops where we can buy small keys for 100 rupees each, and that's part of replacing the key pool. That's also where we will need to buy the wooden arrow item at some point in the seed in order just to shoot arrows out of the bow. In addition, one of those cave locations will hold one of the sword upgrades. So we will only be able to find 3 outside of those new locations. And of course, this will not alter any buildings that have drops like the bomb house or the C-shaped house or any other places that you're familiar with from other races.
Yeah, so one interesting thing that we're going to learn as we watch these guys play the seed is how much they want to go out of their way to search those shops to find where the keys are, or do they want to just kind of plow ahead and go to the dungeons? Because normally you don't visit those random locations, and they are going to.
Yeah, because that is all just extra time that you are going to be spending in the seed wandering around, may or may not pay off. So it will definitely impact these runners' routing. And we did just see a Master Sword in the sewers there, which is that does point to Aghanim.
Every time there's a master sword and or a cape and a lamp, you're always thinking Aghanim's required.
And we're also getting a glove from the 3-chest room.
So that's actually a really good thing that both runners picked up bombs on the way, because if your only available glove is in there, you basically have to walk all the way through the sewers to get it if you don't get a bomb while doing escape. And nobody wants to walk all the way through the sewers. They want to wait for a glove to come in the back.
That's right. And there's also that additional wrinkle of the retro mode that we don't want to spend extra cash if possible. So the normal dive down to buy some bombs from a shop, even less appealing in this.
So we're actually seeing Liam not do the Houlihan, and we're going to see if Hahasell does anything.
So I got a crystal on desert out of that map check. That was it.
I think I saw the red crystal was the Tower of Hera. Yeah, thankfully our tracker's on the ball. 3 crystals, Tower of Hera is a red crystal. And we are seeing Hahasell do the Houlihan glitch. The easiest way to do the Houlihan is to go into that cave there, jump off the sledge 3 or 4 times, and then walk down to the bush as he is demonstrating. And you'll get a cool, I think it's 225 rupees.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And in the meantime, Liam going through the Lost Woods, grabbing himself the Moon Pearl already.
And it looks like Hahasell's immediately going to visit the shop.
I think that was Ether on
Yeah.
the island.
Ether on the Hylia Island. And this is one of the shops where he can buy bombs and a key and the arrows upgrade. But he chooses not to buy the arrow upgrade right now, which is interesting.
I think it's possible he could be waiting to see what else he gets in the way of cash. Maybe he's thinking right now he wants to save up his first chunk of cash for that Zora, just in case the seed points him to go up there and pay $500 to our favorite fish.
For sure, he even needs money for the bottle merchant when he eventually gets to Kakariko. So yeah, and it's always easy to get back there once, if and when he does find the bow. So maybe that's.
Yeah, that is definitely a very friendly shop location for us to go to find the arrows. I think I saw a crystal on Eastern that time. Not sure about the color. It looks like our tracker has indicated there's a non-red crystal there. So that gives us 3 pendants in the Dark World, which, well, you still have to kill Armos, which is, not the best thing in this mode. And we've got Flipper. So how about that early Zora check?
Yeah, I guess Sora was already in logic with the glove, but now it's easier to get to, and we can go to the waterfall cave. So, but at the same time, do you want to be spending 500 rupees on Zora when you need that money for everything else in Retro? Zora is an expensive decision to make in the.
It's a great point, and it's definitely got to be something that is going through our runners' heads right now. Having found, I mean, they were probably thinking about it already, but especially with those flippers immediately, it's something you have to pick.
Hahasell doing a good job in the mini Molder cave. I was genuinely worried with half a heart. And we find the magic mirror in the mini Muldorm cave.
Not a bad mini Muldorm cave. A lot of cash, magic mirror. That's pretty good for the seed. It's also really nice to get that mirror very early in a seed, so that way, you'll end up running around a lot of Hyrule generally, and when you have that mirror, as soon as you get to Dark World, you can immediately start checking off all those random locations immediately instead of just having those sitting in the back of your mind. Do I want to go back and route in North Dark World when I'm nearly in go mode,
Yeah, for sure. I'm a big fan of getting an early mirror. I hate trying to route the seed without the mirror. It's quite an. I think Liam is doing the race game blind, so we're going to see. Oh, it's just a little small key.
So there we go. Nice saving yourself 100 possible rupees right there.
Modes like this make me really thankful that Randomizer adds thousands for rupees, and you're not just limited to 999.
That's a great point. I hadn't even thought about that as being different from the base game. It's definitely one of those things you never really think about because, when you're playing the vanilla game, you're pretty much capped out in cash somewhere around, halfway, 2/3 of the way through, and maybe go buy some blue potions if you need to.
Yeah, normally it's kind of a bad thing because it does add some lag to the game as compared with like the vanilla game, especially in certain rooms. But here you need the extra cash. You want to save up for as many silver arrow shots as you can for later in the game.
Yeah, especially if, it'll be very interesting to see Ganon's tower routing in this mode, since if all those 300 rupee chests end up stuck in Ganon's tower and you go that direction in search of the big key, you could end up with that's your ammunition. That is giving you, a green light to pop silvers on maybe Ice Armos or Landmo 2. Have tremendous impact on your gauntlet.
So at this stage, we're seeing the runners kind of following each other's footsteps. However, Liam has the flippers and he's in the Lake Hylia area, so I am expecting him to maybe go and check the hobo and then heading up to Zora. Although he won't be able to do Zora himself, but he can check the other items that are flippers.
Yeah, in this case, Liam's routing paying off a little bit better, given that he has ended up here at the southern shore near the end of his overworld checks for the Light World.
And one interesting thing is that the Houlihan setup that Hahasell did is no longer available to Liam because he now has the flippers. So he's going to have to do the slightly more difficult, but I guess probably faster setup where you push the back of escape drop down and you bomb yourself into the hole. That's if he chooses to do it, which I reckon he should. He is pretty low on money. I think it would be a good idea.
Yeah, we'll have to see how he decides to do that. So, a couple of questions in chat. First of all, the sword cave has not been found. The Master Sword was in Escape after the Uncle Assured Sword, so that sword cave is still outstanding in the seed. Another question just about the seed logic in general, the dungeon keys replaced with. So you'll either need to find a dungeon, all the dungeon small keys that you could find in chests. A bunch of them have been removed, and you need to buy them from shopkeepers. Keys that you could find from enemy drops or from pots, those are still available in all of the dungeons. But small keys in general are not dungeon locked in this mode. So you get a small key someplace, you can use it to open any small key door.
A question asks, what is the most keys you can purchase? I've actually no idea. I would expect it to at least go up to 99 keys, but I actually have no idea. I don't think anyone has tested this, so we might need the developers to answer that. So Hahasell was heading north. I don't know whether he has. I think he's done the forest already. So is he going to sequence break to go up to Death Mountain? It looks like he is. He does not have the lamp, of course, but he shouldn't have any trouble making his way through the dark cave with the sword. And when he gets to Death Mountain, he can go to Tower of Hera, but he may be not able to complete it. It depends on whether the big key is in the basement, because it is fire locked, even if he does have a small key for it.
Yeah, we'll have to see if this is maybe part of a larger Death Mountain play and Tower of Hera play in his mind, or if he's just going up here to get the old man real quick, get the save point, and then is maybe going to go and head over to Eastern or Quake. Oh, that's a good old man.
Yeah, we saw the Ether Medallion already as well. I can't remember where that was, though.
That was on the island in Lake Hylia. And
yeah, of course.
And
we just saw
Zorledge, Titan's Mitts already.
Yeah, so that's a pretty good find. That's Dark World access. So while Aghanim is not completely dead, it is on Lifeline now.
Yeah, we would need a lumberjack check and something pretty much critical to completing the seed in order for Aga to be still on the table.
Yeah, we need something like the hammer in the pyramid spot or something like that. One interesting thing is that the search for the sword or via the Take Any caves, it's not actually strictly necessary. And because both of our runners have a fairly healthy heart count for this time in the seed, and because they both have Master Sword, they could easily ignore all of the Take Any caves and just give up their search for them altogether. It's not actually important anymore. It's useful, of course, to get a tempered sword, but there is another sword somewhere that they might find.
So that is a green pennant on Turtle Rock, thanks to a little intel from Hahasell on Liam's side.
So Liam checked the Hahasell's closet, didn't go into Eastern, which I think makes sense, and he's probably going to head to the Dark World right now. There's a fair bit he can do in the Dark World.
I think if he hadn't found those Titan Mitts, we would have seen an Eastern dip, but yeah, with those Mitts, it's really hard to turn down Village of Outcasts.
The first hint in actually, I missed the ground floor hint in Tower of Hera. Perhaps someone saw that. I know the upstairs hint was just a joke hint. It was green with a link face on it. Ground hint was Cache and Mimic Cave. That's quite useful. That means you never have to go to Mimic Cave when you're clearing Turtle Rock.
Of course, they would give you that hint on a seed where you had an early mirror, so going to Mimic Cave wouldn't be a big deal.
So we saw. I'm sorry, carry on.
Oh, sorry. I got a red crystal on Misery Mire.
We also saw pendants in Swamp and Thieves Town. And of course the green pendant in Turtle Rock, which we already knew.
Yep, and that's always sort of a shame when you see that pendant on Thieves Town, since that is always such a tempting dungeon to dip into. But with the mode, I mean, you might want to think about me not going so deep in.
Yeah, I was about to say something like that as well. It's one of my least favorites to see as a pendant. Because you always want to go in there because it's always open as soon as you have Dark World access, and it's handy to get to, but it could be a waste of time because it is just a pendant. And with this mode, it's hard to tell. In Key Sanity, for example, Key Sanity tends to be full clear the whole seed, so you definitely want to dip most of the dungeons. In standard mode, skipping pendant dungeons often pays off, but this is something in between, so it's kind of hard to get a feel for what you should be doing. Hahasell had a very straightforward Moldorm fight. Master Sword spins 3 of them, makes short work of that, and now he's going to do some of the flipper lock checks, and I'm expecting him to find his Titan mitts very short.
Yep, absolutely. In the meantime, it looks like Liam is going through Dark World here after making his initial dive into Skull Woods. And again, that early mirror looks like it's going to pay off here. Going to probably hit up Graveyard Legend just...
Liam does check the Dark Sanctuary, but it's vanilla. There's no take any cave there, unfortunately.
Now, in this mode, that is a nice find. That 300 rupees literally being, that is what, a full Armos kill if you had silver arrows.
Hahasell almost saving quitting, but that would not be a very good idea at this point, because you're gonna need those mitts.
Yeah, that was a close one.
So both runners have been to the Zora area, but neither of them have actually checked Zora's item, and I imagine they will continue to hold off unless they get desperate, just because it's 500 rupees down the drain. It's an expensive life lesson in retro. Yeah, that's a good point. Neither of our runners have decided to choose the retro sprite for this mode, and yes, we should be disappointed in them.
That is a great point, and I am now disappointed. I wasn't even aware that I could be this disappointed, but here I am.
So Hahasell is now choosing to buy the arrows, and he's bought 1 key. We'll see if he buys any more. I imagine okay, he's not. He's just going to buy a single extra key. So Liam is making the dive into Thieves Town, and we're going to see how deep he goes, whether he just does the first 4 chests or whether he continues deeper.
Well, again, oh, the hook shot! Wow.
Okay, go into Thieves Town on this seed. It doesn't matter if it's a pendant, you want to be there.
Hookshot, my personal favorite item in this game. But yeah, the first 4 we can get easily, and then we just need that big key, which is guaranteed to be in one of these 4 chests to go into the back of Thieves Town. And that one small key that we need to proceed should be under a pot, so it should always be there. So there is a little bit of ground we can make up in Thieves Town here without having to invest our own keys that we get other places in the world.
One interesting strategy which they may choose to do is they could steal that small key and then not go deeper in the dungeon. If they decide they just want to do the first 4, an extra key. And then they just need to remember to bring a key if they ever come back in here.
Yeah, that is a great point. This is personally the first retro seed that I've been commentating. So a lot of these strategies are still a little new to me, and I think probably still a little new to some of our players. But yes, that kind of craftiness could pay off in.
So it looks like Liam's going to check what Jeremiah the Bullfrog has for us today.
And possibly go do Magic Bat before he does that, or immediately after. We'll have to see what he decides.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's always a little awkward because if you do the magic bat without the hammer, you are going to lose your warp, which does make it awkward for him to continue down towards Hype Cave.
Liam getting the big bucks again.
Okay, yeah, he's choosing to do the magic bat. It's an interesting decision because obviously Hype Cave is going to have the density, but if you get the powder this early, maybe it's pointing towards something. So I guess we'll see if this pays off.
He's probably also thinking, you know, if he wants to go back to Dark World, he can go from Sanctuary through Kakariko or Village of Outcasts again and do that dig game, which I don't think he got to. And a third 300 rupee drop for Liam. He is rolling in change in this seed. He has got to be feeling pretty good right now.
Yeah, he just needs to get himself to that Lake Helia shop and go on a spending spree. Okay, so Hahasell is also going to go straight into Thieves Town, which is massively going to pay off because he's going to find his hook shot as well.
Yep, and we'll
so
see
yeah,
if
he would have been in trouble.
And we'll see if he decides to go a little deeper and either explore the dungeon or at least grab that key and steal it for someplace else.
Well, I'm going to guess immediately that he's not going to because he's just equipped the mirror. So he's telegraphing his... Right now, and now he's changed to the hook shot. But yeah, I think looking at his body language, if you can call it that I think he's going to mirror out after the front.
I 100% agree. I think my mouth decided wanted to say something, but I was watching the stream and being like, that indicates pretty strongly no.
Yeah, neither runner had the money to pay Zora when they were in the area, and finding the mitts, they don't really feel the need to go back there anytime soon. So Zora's outstanding, and yes, with the mirror, they can always combine that with Catfish.
300 rupees, number 4!
Okay, when we said there was going to be money problems in this seed, we might have been lying. We might have told you
retro?
untruths.
This is like those hard mode seeds when you leave escape with a tempered sword and blue mill. We voided the rules at this point.
Okay, so Liam has routed this in a fairly clever manner, and now he's going to quickly check in the arrow shop, which is vanilla, and going to bring the purple chest around to get the locksmith to open it. And one thing I was wondering, is the arrow shop one of the random take any cave possibilities, or is it always vanilla? Because it can have its uses to farm some money. So that's an interesting question that I don't know the answer of.
So if I'm recalling the rules from the randomizer site correctly, the only places that can't be randomized are places that have items in the normal seed logic, like a C-shaped house or the treasure house, and like the places like the bomb shop, which takes the place of Link's house in the Dark World. So the arrow house should theoretically be an eligible location.
Yeah, and I know the old maps that showed the locations of these take any caves for retro, they included the ferry in the Light World Lake Island. But that's obviously now where you buy your arrows and bombs, so I'm guessing that's no longer an option.
That's a
Your
great
arrows
point.
and bomb upgrades.
Yeah, you know what? I would agree with you there. That's probably a location that can't be randomized, but maybe the notes just haven't quite caught up there. I sympathize. I'm a developer as well, and sometimes the notes aren't quite matching up with reality. Liam, silver is in the purple chest. That is value right there.
Now he just needs to find a bow, and he's going to be able to spend all of his 1,500 rupees.
It'll be like a Powerball winner in a yacht store. And wow, over 30 minutes in, we're getting our first hype cave check.
Yeah, it is always a little bit on the awkward side when you don't have the hammer and you have to walk from the Kakariko warp. And there's the fire. And there's 2 small keys and a 10 bomb pack. That's not bad. That's not a bad cave.
No, I'd call that a solid 5 out of 10 for that cave. Especially since Skullwoods is a crystal.
Fire Rod does also allow them to go into Ice Palace. And it's also their first fire source. So locations like the basement in Hera are now open. They don't have access to desert yet, but if they get access to it, then the fire rod will also come in handy for them.
Liam grabbing his ether. Still missing Quake though. Now where was that Quake?
Yeah, I can't remember. Someone in chat will have to tell us. Quake was on the Old Man.
That's it.
Of course, yes. Thanks, Vince Easter.
I blame the sequence breaking.
That's what we have chat here for, because I struggle to remember all these things, but chat knows everything. Chat can always be relied on.
That's true. It's this crowdsourced mind that just sees everything. Liam going to turn up his nose at the heart on Pyramid.
Yeah, and I think Liam is going to do the Catfish and Zora thing now. Sitting with all that money, I think now he feels like he can justify spending money for Zora. And if Zora turns out to have something good, this will be a really good play.
I agree 100%, and you know, he's probably not too concerned. $1,000. I mean, that is a lot of progress, even if Zora gives you absolutely nothing.
I noticed though he is not turning in his mushroom, even though he's walking right past it. So I hope he doesn't regret that. It'll still be faster if he ever picks up the flute, to use the flute to go there. But if he doesn't get the flute anywhere, that was probably his best chance to turn in the.
Well, we know he will be getting that flute since Meyer is a crystal, but yeah, it is interesting that he didn't do that because, you know, that would be an early game item, possibly, and you definitely want to front load as much as you can.
Catfish giving us another small key. Liam is sitting with a very healthy 5 small keys, and that'll last him for a little bit. He will need to buy more at some point or find more, but that's a good amount, right?
Yeah, that's enough for a pod full clear, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, if you do the hammer jump, you can get away with only 5 small keys. If you have the bow and the hammer, or potions on the hammer, you can skip the front door and get away with 4 small keys for a full clear.
All right, so bit of a bitter transaction there at Zora, but it could have been worse. Could have been a lot worse.
I've seen Zora do worse, so yeah, that's not so bad. Liam is choosing to walk back, and I wonder if it's because he's going to keep his warp and then walk down to the Palace of Darkness, which I guess makes sense because it's quite awkward to get to the Palace of Darkness from the Kakariko warp without the hammer.
That's right. He does not have easy access to Eastern Darkworld at this point without the hammer or the pyramid. So this could he might be thinking mushroom on the way back, or but yeah, at the very least, this is the best way to access.
Guess we need to mark Hahasell with a bottle on the tracker because he's now checking the sick kid. But that's just 5 rupees, so the sick kid has nothing. Can be quite a trolly location if you pick up the bottle quite late. Oh, and now Liam is checking the mushroom spot, so maybe this was his plan all along. I'm sorry I ever doubted you, Liam. I should never have doubted him.
Definitely, again, one of those items in a normal seed you'd be kind of like, eh. But in this seed, that's a silver arrow shot. That is 25% of Ganon's health. That is 5 normal arrows. That is value. And, of course, half a small key. I should really not emphasize shooting things so much with the rupee value proposition.
So it looks like Hahasell is bringing his fire rod into Skull Woods, and he's probably going to go all the way and beat Motula. So we're going to see if there's any value in the back.
Yeah, Skullwood's definitely one of those great dungeons to dive into, given the fact that there is so much that you can accomplish without small keys, or the small keys are provided to you due to the fact that they drop from enemies or are under pop.
So it looks like Liam is also making the decision to sequence break up to Death Mountain. But however, he is doing it with the hook shot, so there's more he can do up here. He can do an awful lot of East Death Mountain. In fact, all of it except Turtle Rock. We still don't know where the lamp or the flute is, which would give us logical access to Death Mountain, but it has to be somewhere. But this could really pay off. So Liam making the play into Tower of Hera, where we saw Hahasell earlier. With the fire source and a small key, so we can choose to check the basement while he's here, so we can find if something interesting is there. Meanwhile, Hahasell is fighting his way into the moth room, and he's doing the right thing by killing that mummy to pick up the small key, because it's 100 rupees and it's very useful. Moth being a little bit uncooperative, but with the fire rod and half magic, you can just kind of spam it. And yeah, actually that was pretty quick. He takes down Moth fairly efficiently there. And he picks up his second crystal, so he has a handy 2 crystal to 0 lead at the moment. Not to say it's actually a genuine lead, of course, because Liam has done other checks. But he's probably feeling okay at this point. And I think he's going back to the big chest in Skullwoods now, because he found the big key at the back. Meanwhile, Liam is going up to Moldor.
Immediately getting a hit from the big worm.
Unfortunately, he's given him a little bit of a slash, so if he does 2 spins now, he's going to aggravate him. Okay, he gets another poke in, so that was probably good.
Good recovery on that fight.
Okay, Skullwood's big chest just has a full heart container, which is nice, but both runners already have a healthy amount of hearts, so it's not really going to make too much of a difference. So Liam is now going back, and I think because he skipped Spectacle Rock on his way up. This actually makes sense. So he did Tower of Hera first, and then he's gonna do the Spectacle Rock, and then he doesn't have to worry about the bomb jump. He can jump straight to the bottom of the mountain and then use the hook shot to get to the East Dead Mountain. So this is pretty clever.
Yeah, and also checking Spectacle Rock Cave is a great decision these days with the tiles. Like right there with that Swamp Palace hint, even though Swamp is a pendant, so we may or may not see it, but we do have that hook.
Yeah, and we know that if we find the big key anywhere, we don't have to go back in for the big chest. With a bit of luck, we'll... sorry, I was about to say, with a bit of luck, we'll find a nice hint for the left side as well, and then we don't have to do any double dipping of...
Yeah, that would be great, because Swamp, you get that great hint about the left side that is probably about one of the most valuable hints in the game, along with the Misery Mire fire-locked location. Always want to find out that you don't have to do that. It's very nice to know.
So Hahasell is going to follow Liam's footsteps to probably do the Catfish and Zora. Oh no, maybe he's going straight to the Palace of Darkness.
So this actually isn't a bad play from Hahasell. We know that from Liam's checks that the total net benefit from... Actually, it was a net loss of rupees from going up to the Zora area, plus a time loss. So even though Liam isn't really suffering for having done those checks, Hahasell could make up some extra time here by skipping them. Meanwhile, Liam finding blue mail in the Paradox Cave.
Yeah, no major progression items, but he found a small key, blue mail, a full heart container, a little bit of help, for sure.
Now, I may have spoken too soon because it does look like Hahasell is going up in this direction, and we'll see how much of this upper section he does. If he does Catfish, decides to go up to Zora, decides to do the mushroom play, if maybe he's a little disappointed by those Zora results.
And we just saw a very useful item there on the floating island. We found the bow.
Oh!
That is very significant, and Liam is going to pick that up very shortly. He's going to do Spiral Cave, and then he's going to go into the Dark World and do Super Bunny Cave, and he's going to go straight. And that opens up quite a bit. Now we can... And we found the flute as well. Okay, East Death Mountain having a lot of value.
Yeah, this Death Mountain blowing this seed wide open. And that is, we are in a very interesting boat because we have the flute, about to get the bow, still don't have the hammer, still don't even have the lamp.
Yeah, knowing how seeds have gone recently, I'm just going to go ahead and predict the hammer is an Ice Palace. So they're going to have to go in there and get it. That's my prediction for this seed. The interesting thing to note is that the flute is... All of Dead Mountain is still a sequence break, because we found the flute on Dead Mountain and we do not have the lamp. So the lamp must be somewhere. So actually I take it back. The lamp could be somewhere in Ice Palace, which then makes you get that and go up to Dead Mountain to get the flute, which could lead to other progression.
That is a great point. And we also have, in logic, the front of Pod outside of Dark Rooms, the Eastern Palace, which I don't think either of our runners have dove into either. Those are all still within logic as well.
Yeah, the seed has for sure opened up very quickly for both of our runners. Hahasell's going to find all the things that Liam just found.
The cane in the hookshot cave.
Wow, that's significant. Now this is a little bit awkward because Liam's going to be thinking now whether he wants to make a little dip into Turtle Rock. He did check the pendant, but I actually didn't see which pendant, which medallion is required to open Turtle Rock. I don't know if anyone noticed it.
But he actually can't make that dip into Turtle Rock because he's missing.
Oh, we don't have the
still.
hammer. Yeah, of course, my mistake. My mistake.
You know, I will just throw it out here. I'll be delighted if hammer is our go mode item in this seed. That would be fantastic.
Hammer does make a great go mode item. And it means you can definitely save a small key in Turtle Rock. And it means you can save all the small keys in Ice Palace. You know, it's quite.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll be honest. I've watched quite a few of these races. I don't think I've ever seen a single one with a go mode hammer. So, if that happens, be a new experience.
Another little wrinkle with retro is because how much the silver arrows cost to shoot. It can often be more money efficient to switch to the wooden arrows temporarily when killing certain enemies. So that's just another little thing to bear in mind when you're doing retro. So we'll see if our runners, if either of our runners use that, or whether they just spend all their money and just burn through it for the sake of speed.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see that due to how rich the seed has been. This seed, I mean, despite the lack of hammer and could be very trolly, the seed has been extremely generous to us in terms of those rupees. So we will have to see once they get to Ganon's Tower how essential it is. I think that the sort of key deciding factor will be is the Ice Armos Knights fight required for that Ganon's Tower big key? Because if we can skip Ice Armos Knights, that means they will just be flush with cash for the gauntlet, and they will be able to use their silver arrows with impunity. So we will have to see in GT how that shakes out. Liam with the ice rod in the mire shed. So that green pendant Turtle Rock, aside from that missing hammer.
We're going to find that out very shortly because Liam is checking Desert Palace right now. Just some money in the torch, so we don't necessarily need the boots in this seed. Desert being boots locked is actually quite a bit less likely in retro because it doesn't matter if there's a small key there, you can always buy some more. It's only if the big key is on the torch is it boots locked.
Yep, and we're also seeing from that hint tile that the green pendant will not be yielding any item progression for us in this seed. So Turtle Rock completion, despite the fact that we already have the fire in the ice rod on Liam's side, not going to be happening.
nothing much of value in desert, so I imagine Liam is going to go straight to Landmo now, finish them off, and he shouldn't have too much trouble. I imagine he can choose either silver arrows or a couple of fire rod shots, and he won't have much trouble with either.
I'm thinking, especially with the half magic, he's got to be doing fire rod in this seed.
Oh yeah, of course, to save money. I just realized. If they decide that's still a factor, which to be honest, maybe it isn't anymore. Maybe we've been talking up this money shortage, and it's just turned out to be a seed where it's just not relevant.
That's, again, great point. I personally am not 100% sure how retro seeds, their cash situation is headed into Ganon, or even just like the final push of their seeds. So they might be flushed with cash compared to how they are. I mean, we saw 4 300 rupee drops from these guys in addition to everything else.
Yeah, based on other retro seeds I've seen, these guys have a lot of money and a lot of small keys right now, so I think they're actually doing... Yeah, Liam does use the fire rod strats very efficiently. Takes out Lambo with no problems whatsoever. Gets another crystal. He's up to 3 right now.
Now, I'm wondering if the runners are thinking, due to the situation they find themselves in terms of the key quantities and the number of rupees, if they will be more tempted to dip into some of those pendant dungeons, or if they're going to stick with the crystals and do the minimum requirement.
Yeah, I kind of think that not even anything to do with retro mode or the small keys, that they've got some crystals they can go and finish, and I imagine they'll be going and finishing them first. Like Meyer, for example, I see no reason not to go in and beat Meyer. And Liam is doing exactly that. Yeah, we do still need the hammer to beat Palace of Darkness, and you want to combine Palace of Darkness with Eastern. But, you know, the hammer could be sitting in Eastern as well, so maybe putting off Eastern Palace is not such a good idea. It's hard to tell. And of course, I still have my dream alive that the hammer is sitting there in Ice Palace.
Yeah, that could very well be the case. It's actually pretty interesting how kind of weird the logic of the seed has been between the extremely early Titans Mitt and the very simple logical skip of the Death Mountain Old Man, leaving us in this sort of limbo state until we find that lamp and see where the seed meant for us to go in the first.
So Hahasell's instantly left Meyer, and I'm not sure why. Oh, I guess he wants to check some locations in Desert first. Okay. I forgot it was Liam that actually beat Desert.
Now, did Liam find all the items in Desert?
Yeah, Liam full clear Desert, and there was nothing of value in Desert Palace. Just a couple of 5 rupees and a 20 rupee and some bits and bobs. Nothing important.
Okay, I missed that. I missed that big 20 in the cannon room, I guess you might call it, the vanilla big key chest, I believe. Of course, in this seed, I mean, can you say just money?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really thinking that money is just not a problem for them anymore at this stage. I'd almost not walk out of my way to pick up a 300 on this seed. I don't know how relevant it's going to be. We're gonna learn as we go. We're going to see if these guys are saving their arrows or they're just spamming silvers at the end of the seed, and then we'll know for next time.
You know, I'm kind of doing some quick math in my head, and I think you're absolutely right. I mean, you know, where you could use silver arrows, you're going to fire off It's going to cost you 300 to kill Ice Armos. It's going to cost you 200 to kill Ganon, and it's going to cost you 150 to kill Landmo 2. And that together is 650. So Liam still has 650. That is 13 silver arrows. That's a lot of Gauntlet enemies dead.
Yeah, most enemies in the Gauntlet can just be killed with a wooden arrow as well as a silver, so I imagine they can just switch to the wooden arrows and save even more money, just in case it's low. I also just want to give a shout out to Sakura Tsubasa for the tier 1 sub. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Sakura, one of the most helpful members of the community, does so much work for Link to the Past Randomizer, and it's massively appreciated.
Yes, I have actually seen her streaming before during her sprite testing. Thank you so much for your efforts. And I just want to throw out there real quick that Liam has found the magic cape. So that is throwing Spike Cave into logic. And there it is,
Okay.
the hammer in Misery Mire.
Not a nice palace, what a shame. But now Liam is... Yeah, do we know the Turtle Rock Medallion? Because I still have missed it, and I've forgotten if anyone in chat said so. Because that's the only thing we could possibly need now.
Yeah, let's see if chat pops up with the TR medallion. I'm not 100% sure myself. Now we are still not logically even in go mode, since we need that lamp, definitely. And there is, of course, always the GT Torch Big Key.
Oh yes, of course.
Crisscross saying Bombos for TR, but as another person in chat is pointing out, the Turtle Rock is a pendant, so probably not required.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally forgot about that. So thanks for pointing that out. So yeah, it's just go mode. I mean, assuming you can do dark rooms, which I am very confident both of these runners can. Liam in one of the more difficult dark rooms, but he got through there without too much trouble. So I imagine he's going to go through the seed as fast as he can and assume that the big key is not on the torch in Ganon's tower, because it's 1 in 22, or is it 23? I keep forgetting. But not a large number.
But yes, that was around the 57-minute mark. Liam found himself in maybe mode.
If I was playing the seed, I would call it go mode, and I would be going, and I would skip every single chest, and then I would just eat my medicine if it turned out the key was in the torch, which has happened.
I agree 100%. At that point, you have to gamble on it, because that is so much wasted time to just check everything just in case that one key location.
Especially in a one-on-one race, you can take gambles like that. It's not even a gamble. It's like a 1 in 22. It's a 21 out of 22 chance you're right anyway. I think he can't afford to be checking chests. You just gotta. He does, however, still just have the Master Sword, so he may check some in the way chest anyway, just in case there are boots, or they give him a sword upgrade, which will save him a little bit of time. Meanwhile, Hahasell now picks up his hammer, so he's going to be in what he considers to be probably go mode as well.
Yep, that's right. Hahasell is right behind Liam on the sea, despite them doing a little bit of divergent routing at times. These guys are mostly on the same page at this point.
Yeah, it looks like Hahasell has beaten Skull Woods, whereas Liam has done Desert Palace. So, based on that, maybe Skull Woods is a little bit slower to get to. But Liam has already finished this dungeon now. This is really close. This is a really close race. This is going to be a very exciting.
Yeah, this is actually fantastic because between the seed options and the fact that the seed just burst open at that particular point, where there we go, Liam now using the hammer for the first time in the overworld to get from Dark World to Light World, or vice versa. Uh, it's going to come down a lot to the execution and the skill of these runners, and this is definitely the kind of race that you want to see.
No, Hahasell just went into the front of Desert Palace. He mirrored at the door. So it was convenient for him to check the front and check the items, but not necessarily to get to the back. I'm sure he's planning on doing the back of Desert Palace afterward. This is one of my favorite things in Randomizer, when you get an early go mode and you just have a whole bunch of dungeons you can rush. I love the dungeon rush part of Randomizer. It's one of my favorite parts. So we say go mode, but I guess now is a good time to check what kind of key count we need here. As we see Hahasell burning through his money to take out Vitreous in the fastest time possible.
That was a pleasure to see that quick kill, between the quick kill itself and also watching the rupees just plummet. It's very deeply satisfying.
So in Ganna's Tower, we need a maximum of 3 keys. In Ice Palace, we can do that without any keys. In the Palace of Darkness, if they're go-moding it, they need to find the big key. So wherever the big key is going to affect how many small keys they need to spend. Probably an average of 3 small keys, but they might need a 4th or a 5th, depending on how they route it.
That's right. I think that Liam's choices here, he's trying to go for the non-key locations first, is probably going to be very close to what Hahasell chooses to do. And we're seeing again some choices here with Liam choosing to do the wooden arrows to kill the red mimic. That's going to be 20 rupees for 2 shots versus 50 rupees for a single silver shot.
Yeah, Liam being in pod right now is a very good idea, because this is the most unknown one in terms of how many small keys you are. And after this, he's going to know how many small keys he needs, and he can just go flute straight to the shop and buy them. So this is a good idea to come.
Yeah, great routing decision by Liam. And we will get to see that Eastern Palace immediately after Pop. Hahasell on his Landmo fight now, again opting for the Fire Rod strats.
Yeah, pretty good Lambo fight from Hahasell, and he's manued to the flute, so I'm expecting to see him follow Liam into Palace of Darkness.
So that was Liam. He just found the pod big key, and that was, did he even spend a single small key before he found it?
Well, he's down to 4. I think he spent 2 small keys at the moment, I think.
Well, regardless, very economical pod from Liam.
I think he spent a key on the front door and the key door that leads to the vanilla big key chest. Just those 2. And he's going to spend another key downstairs in pod, so he'll have 3. Neither runner has been into Eastern Palace, so we could... we know the Eastern Palace doesn't need any small keys, so we don't need any for there. We have 3 for Ganna's Tower. We don't need any for Ice Palace, unless they want to choose to buy a key to have a slightly faster route. No, what am I talking about? Go mode Ice Palace, you don't need any keys. So he's actually good for keys right now. He doesn't need to buy any, I don't.
Yeah, I think it's going to depend on how much he wants to sort of hedge his bets for Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, I think if you have 3 going into Ganon's Tower, you're covered in all scenarios. Yeah, Hahasell was about to go right, but I think he's decided he's just going to burn this small key and then do it the most efficient way, which is to go to the vanilla big key spot. Which I agree with this decision, and I think he's going to get paid off. He's going to find the big key very soon here. Oh, the big key was on the bridge chest in the main room. Is that correct?
No, it's in the lower chest in this room right now in the pit.
Oh, okay. Well, he's going to find it very soon then. So he's going to be glad he made that decision to do this first.
Liam wrapping up his Helmasaur King, getting a little bit of love out of that.
Yeah, Liam has Eastern Palace, Skullwoods, and Ice Palace left. You don't need any small keys for either of them, and you need a minimum of 3 for Ganon's Tower. So Liam is perfectly fine for small keys. He doesn't need to buy any more. And Hahasell is going to be 1 key short after he does Palace Darkness, once he spends the key downstairs. So he will probably need to buy a small key unless he finds one somewhere.
And this is interesting because that was the rupee figure to kill all of the possibly required bosses with silver arrows in Ganon's Tower is 650, and Hahasell did choose to kill Vitreous with a full silver arrow strategy, so that has put him in a little bit of a different position cash-wise than Liam has, where Liam does have that extra buffer.
Yeah, I guess Hahasell can always switch to wooden arrows, or even just switch to a sword or hammer or something if he has to, if he's a little bit short. So I think he'll be okay. Yeah, I almost forgot neither runner has the lamp still, so we're seeing more darkroom strategies.
Yeah, that lamp could be sitting in a neglected chest here in Pod. I think only in the Harmless Hellway, or in a chest here in Eastern. And Ice Palace, I believe, is the only other location.
Yeah, I guess Ice Palace seems most likely at this point. Yeah, there are some chests in Palace of Darkness. It could be. Because Palace of Darkness, even though we found the bow out of sequence, key bow locked isn't a thing in Retro because you can always just buy keys to go wherever you want. So we just saw a hint that boots are in the dark.
I was just about to say that from Zelda Dacian. So that would suggest that Pod Rupee Anti-Fairy room, I believe.
That does seem the most likely. I've forgotten exactly where that hint refers to. Is it just those 2 chests and the dark maze?
Those are the only dark chests I can think of.
Oh, the dark sewers as well, but they've obviously been to that one.
Right, since this was an Uncle Assured seed, we already got the free lamp there, so we know that that can't be it.
So that's interesting. Are they going to go back into the Palace of Darkness to pick up the boots just in case they're required?
I think probably not, but if they both check the hint, they'll have that in their pocket if we do see that GT big key on the torch.
That is really interesting. I just saw Liam in the room before the Armos Nights, and he went to the pots to pick up some arrows to refill. But of course, there's no arrows in retro, so there was just 5 rupees under those pots. I didn't even think about the fact that the pots would have prizes replaced, and I'm just realizing that now.
Yeah, that's the things you have to accommodate for these variations is just so hard to keep track of. But Liam opting to use silver arrows for his Armos fight, and he is leaving the area. So Liam is turning his nose up at those boots, heading right into Ice Palace.
Yeah, I agree with this decision. I think you stick with the gamble and just assume it's not on the torch.
Yeah, I think if they had dipped pod earlier and they weren't already in go mode, they probably would have gone back for those boots. But when you're already in go mode and you know that there's one place you might need the boots, you're just going to leave those behind and be like, well, if I have to go back, I have to go back for them. But I have a pretty good idea where they Meanwhile, Hahasell setting up quick kill on Armos, very nicely done without silvers.
So Hahasell's going to follow Liam into the Ice Palace as well. Yeah, there's not that much difference, but at this stage, Liam is behind a Skullwoods kill, which isn't the slowest dungeon to get to, but it's still very hard to tell who's in the lead at this point.
Well, depending on how Ganon's Tower routing shakes out, Liam does have that Ruby lead, so it's not a lot, but he does get that quick kill on Ice Armos.
Yeah, both runners still have a tempered sword as well, which does not make a lot of the bosses easy. It definitely tests their execution. Liam wrestling with one of the most annoying staircases in the game when you don't have the boots. Is checking that chest, probably looking for a tempered sword, but just finds a small key. That one is definitely not going to be necessary. He definitely has enough small keys at this stage. But Hahasell is probably a small key short of where he needs to be. So that could prove a decisive advantage as well. If Hahasell has to spend some time to go to the shop and buy a key, or gamble on Ganon's Tower without enough keys in the worst case scenario.
And even not just the time, but just the cash, because that would put Hahasell very low to the point where he wouldn't really be able to use silver arrows at all outside of Ganon.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how this happened, because Hahasell is the one who did the Houlihan earlier. I guess he just must have skipped some overworld locations where Liam picked up some 300.
So they both got the same 300 drops. The difference was they both chose one boss to do with silver arrows. Liam chose Armos Knights, which was only 6 shots, only costing him 300 rupees. Hahasell chose Vitreous, and Vitreous is a much more expensive boss to kill with silver arrows.
Yeah, that's actually very interesting. But also you save a lot more time with Vitreous doing the silver arrows when you only have the tempered sword. Sorry, the master sword. So I'm not even sure I disagree with his decision. I think I probably would have done the same with just the master sword. If I had the tempered sword, I think I would try and avoid the silver arrows. But a lot of interesting decisions coming out of this retro mode.
Exactly. It's a very interesting decision, and it's something that we're not going to actually see the whether or not it works out for him for another 15 or 20 minutes until these guys are deeper into Ganon's tower. Actually, not even that long, because Hahasell is currently about to collect his last crystal from Cold Stare.
Liam picked up his extra key in the by killing the 2 Freezors in the room just above the big chest in ice. So Hahasell must have skipped that location, so he didn't pick up his 3rd small key. So he still won.
All right, and that is crystal number 7 for Hahasell. Now, do we have the game? Can we run that?
I think the game is only officially on the SG channels. I don't know if it works here. We can definitely do the game unofficially.
Yeah, but definitely unofficially. So, chat, Ganon's Tower, 22 locations for that big key. You know how this goes. Throw those numbers in. The first number is a 3. I like this trend. That's right. More 3s in chat.
I wonder why people are guessing number 3. Bunch of sadists here in chat.
It's always that delicate line to walk between, are people sadists, or they just really like rando and they want to watch more rando? You know, I'm actually going to say that the sadistical choice would be any number that would require Ice Armos. Because Ice Armos is going to put Hahasell in a position where he cannot kill Ganon. He will need to farm rupees, even if he just uses arrows.
Yeah, I was trying to think what he would do in that scenario. Should he gamble on there being money in Ganon's tower that he's going to pick up, like on the after the gauntlet, or is he just going to like switch to the sword and start using the sword against Ice Armos?
I think in that position, you would definitely want to just do GT as fast as you can. I mean, obviously not use silvers, but use arrows if you need to for kills. And then once you're done with Agatu and you're sitting on top of the pyramid after the bat hole is there, or whatever you want to call it, then you could maybe go look for some more rupees.
The Fire Rod is actually a fairly effective weapon against the Armos Knight, so I actually think with half magic, maybe just bring out the Fire Rod and just spam that.
That's a great idea. I mean, I have seen Armos Knights get killed with the blue boomerang before, so
that's always a fun fight. Only 48 hits per knight with the blue boomerang. Just 40.
I think in this mode that'd be the equivalent of somebody taking like a small pile of coupons to the register at a supermarket.
Yeah, that kind of thing happens a lot more in entrance shuffle and modes like that, where Ganon's tower is like an early game location where there are items. So it's quite interesting. It doesn't happen so much in normal mode.
So Hahasell moving up the left side, and we're about to get our moment of truth. For the boots, that is. Oh, and our wishes explode like so many bombs on a torch.
Well, that is kind of disappointing, but maybe it's for the best. Our runners are probably very relieved to see that.
Hahasell making some nice work of that Ether Medallion No Tempered Sword.
So here we have a route divergence. It looks like Liam is going to go right side, which this could be a decisive decision. It could come down to the...
Hahasell being, I believe, 9 chests deep now, still no key. Liam finding the Tempered Sword, Book of Meudora, Shovel, and a small key all in one room. Oof. Value.
Okay,
I believe that was number 10 big key for Hahasell.
so Hahasell chose the right side and probably extends his lead, so he's going to have an advantage heading up Ganon's tower now.
Yeah, definitely dodging a bullet there with the no ice Armos requirement.
He only has the one small key going up the tower, but one small key is enough. He's going to have to kill the mini Moldorms to get his second key. But that's...
And he is also going to do a Master Sword Ganon, whereas Liam does have the Tempered Sword.
Yeah, we actually know this for sure. We know the fourth sword is in the Take Any cave that neither runner found.
Hahasell really exhibiting some of the disadvantages of the Retro Gauntlet there. Already putting one arrow into the Mimic, but because he could not afford to fire Silver Arrow, having to deal with those beams until he could finally...
Yeah, 200 is the important number that Hahasell needs to keep in terms of rupee count. Because that's four silver arrows for Ganon, and it's especially important he's only going to have the Master Sword. I mean, I think Hahasell is still in the lead, but the Tempered Sword does give Liam a chance to catch up, and if Hahasell makes any mistakes in the Ganon fight with the Master Sword, which can certainly happen, it could give Liam a chance. This is going to be close. This is quite a tense. Hahasell getting very low on health as well. He does have the powder he can use in the next room before Landmo 2. And I think unless he's bought a potion, I think he will be. He escapes out of that room with half a heart, but he does have a blue potion. I saw Liam buy a potion before going up to the mountain, but I didn't see Hahasell do it. But he has a blue potion as well, so he's fine. Liam having much better luck in the Mimics 2 room, and Hahasell having a little bit of trouble in the Landmo 2 fight. So as Hahasell finishes the gauntlet, Liam is just about to start the gauntlet. So about 5 or 6 rooms separates the runners at the stage.
Yeah, this is really going to come down to execution for Hahasell. He's going to have to be very flawless on his Ganon because he does not have the room for error that, ignoring the rupees, just the Tempered Sword will afford Liam in the event of a Ganon fall or some other issue.
Liam with an excellent Lammo too. He can also one-cycle it with the Fire Rod, just like he one-cycled the Lanmo 1 fight. So he's done a really good job on both of those fights with the Fire Rod.
That's
And it's going to make
good.
up some more time on.
Also very surprising to see Hahasell skip those 2 chests since he is still missing that tempered sword.
Yeah, interesting. From his perspective, either of them could have another sword upgrade, but because there's only one more sword in the pool that isn't to take any cave, maybe the chances is much lower.
Yeah, it's very possible that was a sort of deliberate statistical / mathematical decision that he made there. Maybe we can ask him about that once these guys have wrapped this up.
It does though kind of suggest that he's comfortable enough with his Master Sword that he's not desperately searching for an upgrade. Which I definitely expect. Both of these runners are very strong. I expect the execution will be very good.
Let's see how Hahasell is on his geometry. One more hit for him.
Okay, he had a couple of unfortunate cycles, but he finished strong. So now he's entering the Ganon's fight as Liam is about to enter the Aga 2 fight. One of the most annoying rooms in the game when you don't have the boots.
Yeah, you can really feel the lack of boots in some of those rooms. That is definitely the one.
This is going to be really close. Hahasell starting the fight now with the Master Sword.
So Liam is grabbing some shots through those blue balls while Haha is busy having to deal with spin strats on Ganon. Liam gets Aga 2 down. Oh, this is so close.
Yeah, neither runner had a very good Aga 2 actually. They'll both be disappointed. But now it's just come down to the Ganon fight. Hahasell is now in easily the worst phase when you only have the Master Sword. It's so awkward to get your spins in. I'm kind of surprised he's not switching to the cape because he has half magic. The cape makes this fight a lot easier and quicker.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Half magic and safety items, very surprising decision.
Liam is entering the fight now. I mean, if Liam gets the one-on-one cycle, this is so close.
I think that Hahasell is going to hit phase 3 just a little ahead of Liam. It's going to come down to the silver arrows in phase 4 and see if one of them can line up multiple arrows per sword.
I think Liam's through now. Liam's in phase 3. He didn't get the one-on-one. He got the 2-in-1, but he's in phase 3 now. I think Liam is taking the lead. This is
yes. Will this come down to torch glitch of all things?
I don't think torch glitch. Just getting those silver arrows hits in. Money's not an issue. They just need to get the hits. This is really. It's so much easier as well for Liam. He doesn't have to charge a spin. He can just slash. And that's it. Liam gets the 4 silver hits in.
Oh my goodness. Chat,
and that's it. Wow.
Get your GGs in for both of our runners, finishing within 15 seconds of each other.
What a fantastic finish to that race. That was so close, I could not tell which way it was going to go. Massive GGs to both of them.
The value, right there. Even the Triforce knows the value of that tempered sword.
Yeah, Liam has finished in first place with an official time of 1 hour 30 minutes and 6 seconds. Hahasell with an official time of 1 hour 30 minutes and 23 seconds. There was very little in it. That was so close. What a great GG to both runners. Fantastic.
Yeah. Get your GGs in, everybody. It's amazing, amazing race. Cannot believe that.
Okay, let's see if we can get the runners in for a quick interview. And I think we are joined by Liam. Are you there?
Hello.
And Hahasell as well. GG, massive GG to you both. That seed was amazing.
Yeah, for sure. GG, Hahasell. That was man, watching that back, I'm still kind of surprised I won.
Yeah, that was incredible. Definitely a big GG to you as well, Liam Atlas.
So I guess the first question I want to ask is, at the end of the race, were you both watching did you have the Sorrel chat up? And were you watching as the race was finishing?
I definitely, when I was going up the gauntlet, I took a quick glance at it and no one was done yet. And then I took another glance at it right before the Ganon battle. I'm like, I think I got a chance at this. But man, as soon as I done, and then I saw Hahasell done just, what was it, 15 seconds or so later, man, that actually was really surprising. I expected him to be very close behind, and I was a little surprised that I won, considering some of my mistakes, like skipping the big key and EP. But it was a good race.
So,
yeah, I tend to pull up my SRL chat after I finish Aga 2, and didn't look at it again until right after I had finished Ganon and I saw the dot down, and I was just like, so close.
So yeah, I don't know if you guys really reviewed it very closely yet, but it is literally, it came down to that tempered sword in Ganon's tower. That was the game decider.
Yeah, we were talking a bit about that in SRL chat. I forgot that only one of the sword upgrades is in Take Any Cave. I thought that two of them were.
Yeah, and I was just going with my usual right side play in GT, and it just happened to work out this time.
Yeah, it seems really hard to tell whether going left side and getting the big key earlier, or going right side and getting the tempered sword and getting the big key later is actually the better decision. It's still unclear to me which works out. So it's definitely a close call. So how did you guys find retro mode? How much experience did you guys have of this before? Like, how many practice runs did you?
I have maybe done a handful of retro, and mostly just for practicing for this tournament. And this was the first time I found the 0 of the Take Any Caves. I was actually sweating a little bit because I was thinking I was going to have to do Master Sword Ganon myself.
Yeah, I've done a handful of these. I really meant to practice this before this match, and I just ran out of time. I ended up finding one of the Take Any's. It was in Dark World Mire area was like the one, like the Dark World Agana cave.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, well, getting the hammer and mire after that, I just it's like, it was rush time. But I'm guessing you probably checked it before you went in.
Yep.
I guess because for both of you, having the Master Sword, while not ideal, it is enough to beat the game, so you don't strictly need to find to take any caves. So I guess the search kind of dwindled after that.
For sure. I mean, just clearing the dark world, I would poke my head into whatever. But yeah, it wasn't major. It'd be really nice because I was thinking, I hate Master Sword Ganon, but at least we had Cape as well, just in case. But yeah, I mean, having Master Sword so early in the seed really helps out.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely should have used that cape, but oh well. It's funny because I actually lost count of how many sword spins I had done on phase 1, and then I walked out of the setup for phase 2 because he was up in the top left corner, so it's a little frustrating, but it's not gonna stop me from beating the game.
So we spent a lot of time talking about money and saving money for keys and for silver arrows. Did you guys what kind of decisions did you guys have to make, or did you find it wasn't really a factor because of how much money you started with?
So there was only one fight where it was a factor for me, and that's I killed Vitreous. I used Cape and just spamming Master Sword just so the magic doesn't consume. And then I used Silvers on the big eye, just in case I had to do Ice Armos in GT.
Yeah, I should have saved some of my money from Vitreous. It ended up making me have to crunch pretty hard for the rest of the game. Like, I think I ended up doing Armos with regular arrows. I did Helma with silvers, and then Ganon obviously with silver.
So how do you guys feel now going forward in the tournament? I think this is the third game for both of you. And Liam, obviously you have a very nice 3-0 record at the moment. But Hahasell, you've still got the 1 win out of 3, and there's 15 games in the group, so you must still think there's plenty of time to catch up.
Oh yeah, I mean, like you said, there's still 12 more matches, still plenty of time, plenty of things can happen, but I mean, everybody in this group is pretty strong, so I expect more close matches like this one. Really just gotta earn it at the end of the day, so it'll just come down to execution, I think, more than anything else in GT, so I have a little bit more practice to do going into my next matches.
Yeah, I think with as many matches as we both have to do, and 2 more matches against each other, I think it'll be exciting to see where we end up. I mean, us being number 3 and number 4 seed and having close races, it seems like it would make sense. But yeah, it'd be really interesting to see how this group shakes out.
So, did you guys enjoy the retro setting, or do you think you might be shooting for some different variations in the future?
I personally I'm not used to racing retro, so I'm not sure I'm gonna pick it for my choice. But it wasn't bad. It really depends on. I mean, if we're still on Fighter Sword, or if it's not Uncle Assured and you're on no sword and you're having to scrounge around for that first sword and a take any, it can be pretty bad. But I mean, as long as you're set on swords, it's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, I like retro. It's one of those modes that I wanted to make sure I at least got one race out of during this tournament. Can't guarantee that I'll do another one, but a lot of that I think is going to come down to um, what races I decide to do against the 1 and 2 seed in our group, and also how the veto system works for the third match.
So do you guys have any other races scheduled now? Anything coming up soon?
I have a race tomorrow and a race Sunday morning against the top 2 seeds in the group. So I'm really looking forward to those and see where I'm at after those 2 races.
Yep, and I've got a race scheduled for Saturday afternoon against Fear Agent, so pretty excited for that one as well.
Okay, well, best of luck to both of you in your upcoming races and the rest of the tournament. Is there anything else you wanted to ask, Tal?
No, I just want to thank you guys both for giving such a great race. It was really fun to watch, and it was a real nail biter at the end.
And just one more time, GG Hahasell, and see you in the group.
Yeah, GG Liam. Yeah, and thank you guys so much for commentating. Thanks to our tracker and our restreamer, and all y'all in chat for being awesome as always. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, thank you guys so much. Yeah, a big shout outs to Vince Easter for tracking and Kiki for restreaming, and my co-commentator Tao Decay. It was an absolute pleasure commenting with you, mate, and I hope to do it again soon.
Absolutely, Shady. It was fantastic commentating with you. This is a great race. Great night for Halloween seed here. I hope everybody listening and watching here has a great night. And we'll be seeing you soon with even more random.